What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza here, with a brand new video for all you horror hounds out there. Now, it is the holiday season right now. Christmas is literally days away, so I figured I would do something kind of fun today because us horror fans, it don't have to be Halloween to watch a good horror flick. There's plenty themed around every holiday. And today, what we're going to talk about is a very fun movie that is 1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, this felt like the first time I've watched it because I probably haven't seen this since I was maybe like 9 years old. So a long, long time ago because I'm old. But anyways, to get right into it, it's about this little kid, Billy Chapman. We see him, his mother, his father, and his little baby brother. They're going to a Utah mental facility to visit his grandpa, who's kind of out of it in the head. You know, he's not really talking much, and like at all, I should say. So the family goes in there. They try to talk to the grandpa. He's not responding or talking until the family leaves to go like check some records or something like that, and they leave Billy in there with his grandpa alone, and his grandpa just like starts talking to him out of the blue, and he starts going on and on about Christmas and Santa Claus, how he's evil for whatever reason. That's not really explained why he just decided to say Santa Claus was evil and all this, but point is, Billy Chapman's got to be like 4 years old at this point in the movie, and it scares the fucking shit out of him. And he believes his grandpa, you know, and then him and his family leave and they're driving back home. And in the meantime, we get a scene of a guy dressed up as Santa Claus, and he goes into a liquor store to rob him. He ends up shooting the clerk, the worker there, killing him. He leaves. I remember, I believe it was $33. That's all he got from the bank or liquor store robbery, the holdup or whatnot. So the burglar leaves, and at this point, the family is driving back, and they see the burglar who's dressed as Santa Claus. It looks like his car is broken down or something. And the dad is telling Billy, you know, hey, look, it looks like you get to see Santa Claus tonight. Anyways, like a good thing. All kids like Santa. But from what his grandpa just told him, Billy is freaking out, like, oh, no, keep driving. I don't want to see Santa Claus. And his parents don't really get it. But, you know, they stop to help the guy, because it looks like he has car problems. The bank, or I keep saying bank robber, damn it. But yeah, the criminal. Yeah, he pulls out his gun, and he shoots the dad in the head. And when he does this, he comes for the wife. And as this is happening, Billy jumps out of the car and he jumps into like some shrubs, some bushes off to the side to hide. And then this part of the movie is really dark. I mean, I'm going off the unrated version, the Shout Factory unrated version. So they showed a little more. But pretty much the Santa Claus pulls the mom out of the car, rips her shirt open, you know, sexually assaults her, really, and then ends up slitting her throat. And then he's shouting out for Billy, you know, where are you, Billy? All while like his little baby brother Ricky's in the car like crying. So it's like kind of dark, real dark, you know, fucked up stuff. But anyways, we moved to maybe like 4 years later or so when Billy's maybe 8, 9, you know, and he's living in an orphanage. And this is just a little like backstory leading to where we're going. Not anything to note in particular here. Pretty much just like the main nun or whatever that runs the orphanage is really giving Billy a hard time with everything, because you know he's a fucked up kid. You know, I mean in the head, like for seeing something like that. So I mean, like she's trying to make Billy sit on Santa Claus's lap during Christmas time. And obviously, he hates Santa Claus because from what he's seen and what he was told, or what he was told from his grandpa and what he's seen right after. So when he goes to sit on Santa Claus' lap in the orphanage, he gets up and socks Santa Claus and runs off. And you know, he hides up in the corner and he's just rocking back and forth like, oh, I'm not naughty, I'm not naughty. You know, like it does paint a pretty good picture of like how this kid is feeling. Like he's clearly really, really mentally damaged from all this. You know, there's one of the nuns in particular that kind of sees this and is suggesting like he needs further therapy, but like the mean main nun that runs the orphanage is like, no, he just needs discipline. Like, you know, typical old bitch. That was mean of me to say, but it's kind of true if you see the movie. But anyways, once again, we skip forward for the third time in the movie ahead of time to when Billy is 18 years old, and he ends up getting a job at a toy store through the nice nun I just talked about. Goes to the owner of the toy store, gets him set up with a job to try to, get the kid in real life, getting a job and everything. So he gets a little job in the stock room, and then we get like a terrible but it's good montage of Billy Chapman like learning the job and adjusting to like normal life and everything. And when I say it's like a cheesy montage, I mean it. The song is terrible, but that kind of goes hand in hand with 80s movies. That's what I love about 80s movies. You got to have a good montage. I mean, even Rocky had a montage. But anyways, yeah, the montage ends after like a long ass time. And we get to the points around the holiday time, and I think Billy's supervisor for like the stock room is kind of telling him like, "Hey man, you're a good worker at first, but like something's going on. You're acting kind of off lately." And it's because it's around Christmas time. He gets a little shook up every time, obviously. And I must say, I don't remember the actor who played Billy off the top of my head, but like I heard this is like his first role he ever had. And when it comes to like the psychological stuff and like seeing an image of Santa Claus and it like fucking with him in his head, he does a really good job of like showing that acting. Like, he does a really good job of acting like he's mentally fucked up from this. And so we get to the point later in the movie where the Santa Claus that works at the toy store is sick or something like that, so they need a replacement. And somehow the owner convinces Billy Chapman to dress up as Santa Claus. And it cuts to the scene where he's staring at himself in the mirror, and he's got this blank stare on his face, like on the cover. This is the first time you really see it, where he's seeing himself as Santa Claus, and he just doesn't know what to think. It's just, he's fucked in the head big time. Seems like a good kid, but this clearly fucked with him. And I kind of like that for a horror movie, because I think sometimes, unless the horror movie's like really, really dark, which this does have its dark moments, they don't show enough emotion based on like the situation. Like if you did see that as a kid, Santa Claus would fuck with your head for the rest of your life. But anyways, it goes to the Christmas Eve when he's playing Santa Claus and all the little kids are sitting on his lap, and he's having a hard time with it. He's losing his shit. And anyways, the store closes. The owner locks up. One of my favorite lines in the movie, he locks the door and he says, "It's finally over. Time to get shit-faced." And I'm like, all right, I hear you there. And so they have this little after-work Christmas party where they're pouring the liquor and everything. Everyone's getting all boozed up. And he kind of like gets Billy to drink. And he's, "Oh, come on, it's Christmas. You hang with me long enough, you're not going to remember leaving," or whatever. And party goes on. They're all getting fucked up. And this is also kind of like a interesting time where like it shows like the alcohol is a big part that influences the killer. Like that doesn't happen too often in horror films. So like I'm surprised, that doesn't happen more often, because how many times you've been around a drunk person who's angry and wants to fight or something like that. So, with these mental things, these memories, and with the alcohol added in, it's got Billy all fucked up, still wearing the Santa Claus suit, and he starts having flashbacks. And as he's having the flashbacks of his parents getting murdered, he sees like the girl he likes that works there is kind of getting brought to the back room by his asshole supervisor, and the supervisor is being like really pushy on this girl, like kissing up on her and everything, like pretty much sexually assaulting her. Takes her to the back room. Billy walks back there and he sees this guy pretty much trying to rape this girl. So he ends up grabbing the guy, which one thing I think is kind of stupid. I didn't really like. It's a fun kill. He takes like Christmas lights and wraps it around his neck, but he picks him up with like one hand to strangle him to death. I don't know. I don't really care for that. Unless you're like Jason from Friday the 13th, which is kind of like half man, half zombie in a way, super strength. Like I don't really like just seeing like a normal 18-year-old guy just picking somebody with one hand. But regardless, it's a pretty fun kill. He kills the guy. The girl who's the victim starts saying, "What the fuck? You killed him. You're a freak. You're a weirdo." He ends up killing her then. He takes a box cutter from the stockroom, slices her right up the stomach, some nasty stuff. Kills her. He walks out. Or no, I think his boss comes in, and then he picks up a hammer and he clobbers him right in the head and kills him. Classic like off-screen death where the blood splatters. And one thing I feel like I have to note is like I don't mind like I like good practical effects. I like good kills. You know, if it's gonna be like all off-screen deaths, I would like the story to be a little better to carry it. And I normally don't care for off-screen deaths, especially like that classic Psycho kill where like he swings the hammer and then goes off the kill and just the blood splatters against some boxes in the stockroom. But like what I liked is there was like chunks of like meat in the blood, like his brains, like that grossed me out for some reason. It was pretty gnarly. But anyways, this woman, like the last one alive, pretty much comes to the back and finds the owner with the hammer in his eye, which that's where they have some good practical effects. That's a pretty gnarly, pretty cool image. So it goes for like a little like chase. Billy's chasing this last lady around the toy store for maybe 5-10 minutes. He ends up taking like a toy bow and arrow and shooting an arrow right through her chest, and they show it in like the unrated version, which is pretty good. Good reason to get Shout Factory releases. But anyways, kills her. He takes off, grabs an axe. He's out of there. The good nun has been kind of looking for him. She comes into the toy store looking for him after he left and sees like all these dead bodies, and she's like, fuck, you know, this is a classic like Halloween situation. She runs right to the authority and they got to go find this madman. So now at this point we have all these police looking for a Santa Claus that's killing everybody. And now we kind of also go into like the actual killing spree. So like we have a couple fun kills here where like Billy goes to a random house where it looks like it's like maybe a relative or a sister, or because I nitpick shit too much. I'm like, it comes off like this girl's a babysitter to this little kid. But I go, who needs a babysitter on Christmas Eve? The parents should be there. No, but not many people work. But anyways, the babysitter, whatever she is, she's down there trying to hook up with a boy, and the little girl's trying to come down. Hey, you better go back upstairs or Santa Claus won't come. And then Santa Claus does come. He kicks in the door, and he comes after the babysitter or whatever she is. And this is probably one of the best kills, or definitely is one of the best kills. He ends up, after a little fight, he picks her up, and how someone like Backwoods Bam, you know, a redneck, would have like a deer with antlers head like hung on their wall. That's like what they have in the living room. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's a Michigan thing, but he picks the girl up and he like spikes her right through these deer antlers that are hung on the wall. And they show it in like the unrated version that I got here through Shout Factory. And it's pretty gnarly. It's the best practical effects in the movie. And then the boyfriend or whatever comes down, sees all this happening, and he fights with Billy for a minute. Billy just chucks him out the window while saying his catchphrase, naughty, naughty. You know, he's killing kids that are naughty. It's the thing. He throws this dude right out the window, shards of glass in his eyes. It's fucked up. It's pretty cool. But he's going to leave. He's got his bloody axe and everything after he killed everyone. The little girl comes up, Santa Claus, and you think he's about to kill this little girl, but he asks her. And this is another point with his acting that's pretty good. Like, he comes off like mentally deranged. Like, have you been good? Have you been naughty? The girl says, good. You know, are you sure? Yep. So he leaves her without killing her and hands her a gift for being good. And it's the bloody box cutter from earlier when he killed the girl in the toy store. Which more good acting from like this little kid, because when he hands the little kid the box cutter, she's like, what the fuck is this? And he just walks out, leaves, and then we get a random scene where these kids are sledding, these bullies take these other kids' sleds, and they go sledding. And though the practical effects on the deer antlers were pretty cool, I would give this as like the coolest kill, because the one kid is sledding down the hill and Billy jumps out with the axe and yells naughty and just cuts his whole head off with the axe, one chop. And his friend is waiting at the bottom of the hill for his buddy to come down with the sled. And then when the body comes down, it's got no head at all, decapitated. And then the head comes rolling after. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, so we're reaching the end of the movie now where like the cops are on full effect chasing after this killer Santa Claus, and we kind of reach like the next morning, and they go back to the orphanage that Billy is from, thinking he might go back there. You know, why not? So, and I'm fucked up for laughing at this, but the cop drives up and he sees a Santa Claus walking into the orphanage, and all the kids are out front making snowmen and all that type of stuff. And the cop yells, hey, stop. Ends up shooting the Santa Claus and killing him. And just the expression on these kids because that, like, as much fucked up stuff that I talk about in these reviews in horror movies, isn't that really like the one of the most fucked up things you could think of? Like, imagine like killing Santa Claus in front of a bunch of kids who still believe in Santa. They thought you just killed Santa. It turns out it's not Billy. The cop talks to the main nun. She goes, "That's, the priest, the pastor from the church across the street or whatever. He didn't hear your warnings because he's also deaf." Like, what are the odds? But like, oh, why am I right before Christmas? I'm laughing my ass off about Santa Claus getting shot in this movie. I don't know. It was just really fucking funny to me. But yeah, kills Santa Claus, and to make things up to the nun, he says, "I'll watch out for the orphanage in case Billy comes back." Billy does come back, kills the cop with an axe in the chest. He falls down the stairwell. He's dead. And then we get to the final scene. Really cool visual when he chops off a snowman's head, like walking in the orphanage, but just like a cool shot. It's like from, you have to see the movie. It's from behind with like blood dripping off the axe, and he hits the snowman. But, I'm a nerd like that. I notice little things that I like, but I like that little shot. So he goes up to the orphanage, the front door, and some little kid sees him, says, "Hey, it's Santa," or zombie Santa maybe. If kids believe in Santa and you just seen Santa get killed, wouldn't it have to be like a zombie Santa unless there's more than one? See, I overthink things. But the kid lets him in, and then we go into our final scene, which I know I give a lot of spoilers on this channel. I feel a lot of the times my spoilers are like, if it's something like in particular I really feel like I need to talk about. But, you'll have to see for yourself the ending. It's pretty good. Yeah, so that's the end of the movie. Like I said, not going to tell. I want to give the ending away so bad, but I'm not. But yeah, this is just a typical 80s slasher in my opinion. Like, they have a pretty cool backstory, which they follow, but it kind of comes off as a generic slasher anyways, if that makes sense. Like, they have the story and they go with it, but like, I felt like they could have delivered more with the story itself. But regardless, I've seen a lot of really bad 80s slashers, and this ranks as one of the better ones. And I mean, for a Christmas movie, if you like horror movies, I highly suggest checking this out, Silent Night, Deadly Night. And just to look at the cover too, so you guys can see, this is Shout Factory. They do really, really good work. There he is at work, old Kris Kringle. Yeah, this is a good one. I suggest watching this. There's also a sequel which involves Billy's little brother Ricky, who was the baby in the beginning. And if you have like Amazon Prime Video, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is on Amazon Prime Video. And it actually recaps the first movie for like the full first half. It's really weird like that. So you could watch the second one before this one, and you won't be like left out on the story if you want to watch it. Because I suggest buying this. Any horror fan, this should be on your shelf. It's a fun watch every Christmas. There's not, that many standout horror movies for Christmas. I mean, this and like Black Christmas are like the main ones that are talked about. I had people suggest that I watch that horror movie with Bill Goldberg. Oh, it's like, I'm good, man. I'm good. But yeah, really good movie. I suggest watching it. It was fun. That's the most important thing. That's what's missing in a lot of movies. They should be fun. But yeah. Anyways, I guess this is the end of the video. I'm not really good at these outros, but Christmas is days away. To all my friends out here watching this, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And until next time, Blood, Guts, Gore. I'll check you guys next time.